Listen to me for a moment. When a man hurts a good woman, he doesn't always feel it right away. At first, there's pride, there's relief. There's that foolish belief that he lost nothing and gained freedom. But time has a way of telling the truth, and when the noise dies down, fear starts talking to him. Not loud at first, just a whisper in his spirit that grows stronger every single day. When a man hurts a good woman, one of the deepest fears that settles into his spirit is realizing too late what real love actually looked like. At first, he doesn't recognize it. He mistakes peace for boredom. He mistakes consistency for a lack of excitement. He mistakes loyalty for weakness. While she's there, giving her heart, supporting his dreams, standing beside him when he's unsure of himself, he thinks this kind of love is normal. He believes it will always be available, always forgiving, always waiting. That false sense of security is what blinds him. Time is the thing that opens his eyes. Once she's gone, he starts to notice the difference between attention and intention. He meets people who like him only when it benefits them, people who disappear when things get hard, people who don't see his potential, only his surface. That's when the memory of her starts to hit differently. He remembers how she listened without judging, how she stayed when walking away would have been easier, how she believed in him when he was still doubting himself. And that's when fear creeps in, because he understands something painful. That love was rare, and he treated it like it was replaceable. A good woman doesn't just love the version of you that's winning. She loves the version of you that's still trying to figure life out. She sees beyond your mistakes, beyond your confusion, beyond your flaws, and she chooses you anyway. When a man realizes too late that someone loved him at his lowest without conditions, it shakes him. Because success doesn't scare a man nearly as much as knowing he lost the one person who would have loved him even if he failed. This fear grows stronger when he starts replaying moments in his head, the times she asked for effort and he gave excuses, the times she needed reassurance and he gave silence, the times she tried to communicate and he dismissed it. Back then, he thought he had time. Now he understands that patience has a limit, even with the best hearts. And the scariest part isn't that she left. It's that she left quietly, having already given everything she had. Real love isn't loud. It doesn't beg to be valued. It shows up day after day, hoping to be seen. When a man finally recognizes that kind of love after it's gone, the fear isn't about being alone. The fear is knowing he let something priceless slip through his hands because he didn't recognize its value in the moment. That realization stays with him. It follows him into new connections. It whispers to him when things don't feel the same. And no matter how far he goes, that truth has a way of finding him again. When a man hurts a good woman, another fear slowly settles into his heart, and that fear is watching her grow without him. While she was with him, he didn't always see her strength clearly. He saw her patience, but not the power behind it. He saw her loyalty, but not the discipline it took to stay committed when she was hurting. He saw her support, but not the sacrifices she made quietly so he could feel strong. When she finally steps away, something changes, and that change is what unsettles him. At first, he expects her to fall apart. He assumes she'll struggle, that she'll miss him more than he misses her, that life will be harder for her without him. That belief comes from ego, not truth. What he doesn't understand is that a good woman often carries the weight of a relationship for far too long. When she leaves, she's not losing her balance. She's finally putting it down. And when that weight is gone, she starts to rise. He begins to notice it from a distance. She speaks with more confidence. Her energy feels lighter. Her smile looks genuine, not forced. She's focused, grounded, and no longer trying to convince anyone of her worth. That growth confuses him because it doesn't match the story he told himself. He thought he was the reason she was strong. He thought she needed him. Watching her thrive without him forces him to face an uncomfortable truth. She was always capable. He was never the source. He was the limitation. This fear deepens when he realizes she's no longer reacting to him. No emotional messages, no arguments, no explanations. Silence replaces chaos, and that silence is loud. It tells him she's healed enough to stop looking back. A man is rarely afraid of a woman who is angry. He's afraid of a woman who is indifferent. Indifference means she's no longer tied to his validation, and that is something he can't control. Seeing her build a life, chase her goals, and protect her peace makes him reflect on the moments when he dismissed her needs, the time she asked for emotional safety and he gave distraction, the times she wanted partnership and he gave half effort. He starts realizing that while she was investing in growth, he was comfortable staying the same. And now the gap between who she is becoming and who he remains feels wider every day. The fear isn't jealousy. It's regret mixed with realization. It's knowing that he had access to her heart when she was still pouring into others, and now she pours into herself. It's understanding that the version of her he gets to see now is the version shaped by pain he caused and strength she built alone. Watching her grow without him reminds him that he didn't lose her because she wasn't enough. He lost her because she became too much for someone who wasn't ready to grow with her. When a man hurts a good woman, one fear that sits heavy on his chest is the fear of being compared to the man who will eventually treat her better. While she was with him, he may have assumed he was doing enough simply by staying. He believed presence was the same as effort and familiarity was the same as love. He didn't realize that a good woman notices everything. She notices who listens, who shows up, who keeps promises, and who makes her feel safe without being asked. When she leaves, that awareness doesn't disappear. It sharpens. At first, he tells himself she won't find better. He convinces himself that men are all the same, that what she wanted was unrealistic, that she was asking for too much. But deep down, he knows that what she wanted wasn't perfection. She wanted consistency. She wanted honesty. She wanted effort without excuses. And the fear grows when he realizes those things exist because he knows someone else will offer them naturally. That fear shows up when he imagines her laughing freely with someone who doesn't make her question her worth. It shows up when he thinks about another man listening to her without interrupting, choosing her without hesitation, and protecting her heart instead of testing its limits. He understands that when she feels the difference, there will be no competition, there will be clarity, and clarity is dangerous to a man who relied on confusion to stay comfortable. A good woman doesn't compare men out of bitterness. She compares them out of growth. She remembers how she felt unheard, unsupported, and emotionally alone, and she recognizes peace when she finally experiences it. The fear for him isn't that she will talk about him. The fear is that she won't need to. Her happiness will say everything he failed to. This fear intensifies when he realizes that the new standard she holds wasn't created by the next man. It was created by the pain he caused. Every boundary she sets, every expectation she communicates, every limit she refuses to cross is shaped by what she learned with him. He understands that he trained her to accept less, and then he taught her why she never should again. He knows that if she ever looks back, it won't be with longing. It will be with understanding. And that understanding hurts more than anger ever could. Because anger means she still cares. Understanding means she's healed. And once she's healed, she won't settle for love that feels uncertain or incomplete. So the fear stays with him, not because another man exists, but because a better man will exist in her life. A man who benefits from lessons he ignored. A man who enjoys the peace he refused to provide. And knowing that he was once in that position, knowing he had that chance and mishandled it, becomes a quiet reminder that some opportunities don't come back once they're lost. When a man hurts a good woman, another fear rises slowly but powerfully, and that fear is having his ego exposed as the real problem. While she was with him, his ego had somewhere to hide. Anytime she expressed pain, he could label her emotional. Anytime she asked for more effort, he could call her demanding. Anytime she needed reassurance, he could say she was insecure. Her presence allowed him to avoid looking at himself because he could always shift the blame. As long as she stayed, he never had to fully face the truth. Once she leaves, that shield disappears. There's no one left to argue with, no one left to convince, no one left to absorb his excuses. Silence replaces distraction, and in that silence, his thoughts get louder. He starts noticing patterns he ignored before. Relationships that end the same way. Conversations that break down the same way. Complaints he keeps hearing from different people that sound uncomfortably familiar. That's when the fear begins to tighten its grip because he realizes the common denominator is him. A good woman often protects a man's ego even while it's hurting her. She chooses her words carefully. She gives chances. She explains herself again and again, hoping he'll understand without feeling attacked. When she finally walks away, she takes that protection with her. What's left is raw truth, and raw truth is terrifying to someone who built their identity on being right instead of being accountable. This fear grows when he recognizes that his pride cost him something real. It wasn't another argument that ended the relationship. It wasn't one mistake. It was his refusal to listen, to soften, to admit fault. He starts seeing moments where all it would have taken was humility, a simple apology, a genuine effort, a willingness to grow. Instead, he chose to defend his ego, not realizing he was defending the very thing destroying his connection. Ego tells a man that changing means losing power. Growth tells him it means gaining depth. When he looks back, he understands that she wasn't trying to control him. She was trying to connect with him. She wasn't asking him to be less of a man. She was asking him to be more present, more honest, more emotionally available. His ego translated love into a threat, and by the time he recognized the difference, she was already gone. The fear of ego exposure doesn't come from shame alone. It comes from awareness. Awareness that she saw through him. Awareness that she outgrew the version of him that refused to evolve. Awareness that the strength he thought he had was actually avoidance dressed up as confidence. And that realization follows him forward because no matter who comes next, his ego will always be the first thing tested. When a man hurts a good woman, one of the fears he struggles with the most is accountability for the pain he caused. While she was still there, accountability felt optional. He could apologize halfway, change briefly, and then slip back into old habits because he knew she would try again. Her forgiveness made him comfortable. Her patience made him careless. He confused grace with permission, not realizing that grace has an expiration date when it's repeatedly abused. Once she walks away, accountability no longer feels theoretical. It becomes personal. There's no one left to soften the truth or cushion the consequences. He can't rewrite the story anymore because she's no longer there to help him believe his own excuses. The fear starts when he understands that he didn't just lose a relationship, he lost the right to be misunderstood. The version of events he told himself no longer works when faced with the reality of her absence. Accountability means admitting that the pain wasn't accidental. It means accepting that neglect is a choice, silence is a choice, emotional distance is a choice. That realization is heavy because it removes the comfort of denial. He has to face the moments where he knew better but chose easier. The times he knew she was hurting and still chose pride. The times he saw her withdrawing and did nothing to stop it. That kind of truth doesn't shout. It sits quietly and refuses to leave. This fear intensifies when he realizes that she didn't leave impulsively. A good woman doesn't walk away at the first sign of pain. She leaves after trying, explaining, hoping, and giving more chances than she showed. Understanding that she stayed as long as she could makes accountability unavoidable. He can no longer tell himself she gave up too soon. He has to admit that she endured longer than most would have. Accountability also means recognizing the long-term impact of his actions. He knows now that the trust she lost may not be easily rebuilt, not with him or anyone else. He understands that the walls she puts up in the future were built brick by moment.